Scene 3, shot 1, chorus 1, take 3. Hello my friend, and welcome to this YouTube video, which is the first of a 3, maybe 4-part BTS behind the scenes tutorial walkthrough of shooting a music video on the Fuji X-T3. My friend Blase is incredibly talented, and he has a background in music and is connected with this band, but he produced a legitimate, amazing music video using almost exclusively the X-T3 with the Sigma 18-35, but we'll get into gear later. This part 1 is a pre-production interview. Part 2 will be production day, part 3 will be post-production, and then part 4 will be a Q&A. So drop your comments and your questions below. We'd love to get to those, and I hope you enjoyed this 4-part series on how to make really good videos, and specifically music videos using your Fuji, even an older model like the X-T3. So let's go ahead and play the video. This is a fresh music video. It's only a week old. So enjoy the music video, and then we'll dive into the interview with Blase. See ya.
Something's missing. You try to catch your breath, fall back and around in circles, and I'm just as tired as you, and I can't find an excuse. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? We're looking up while we're falling low. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? We're chasing love
Something like that.
Let's just have you introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What are you up to?
Yeah.
Projects that you're working on, and then gear you're shooting on right now. But like, we'll go into more detail on the music video gear in a minute.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah. Like John said, my name's Blase. I work here in Kansas City, kind of doing freelance video full time. Been doing that about a year, and I feel like my work is pretty well split right now between weddings and just the more general freelance world.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that in the freelance world, that looks a lot more like these days, just growing as a DP, editor, and colorist, kind of just doing bits and pieces of different projects for people. And the one we're going to talk about today was one that was kind of handed to me in full to kind of take on the full reins, which is really fun. So
Yeah.
I feel like in Kansas City right now, it's just pretty well balanced work with, music videos and artists. I have like a music background, and so a lot of friends that are musicians and artists, and it's fun to get to come alongside their projects. And outside of that, lots of stuff for churches and nonprofits, and people also looking for high quality video in today's
digital age. Yeah, increasingly more so with COVID. So yeah, that's the scope of Blaze's like background, big huge overview. But this video is particularly going to be dealing with the music video that you already saw in the intro. I hope that was enough to keep you interested in this whole thing, because what Blase did with an XT3 in creating this incredible video is amazing. I'm blown away by the product that he was able to create out of an outdated camera, a previous generation camera. So that's a little bit about Blaze's background. But who is the band that is in this video, and how did you come to be connected with them?
Yeah, band is called Familiar. They are a band, kind of indie pop band based here in Kansas City. And I feel like with a lot of my work these days, it's just through friendship with people. And so one of my best friends plays bass in the band, and kind of through him, I've just grown in friendship with kind of the whole rest of the band. So it feels a lot more like a friendship relationship than a typical client or the way a band would approach a videographer. And so they're kind of in the process of coming out with a new album. I'm not sure by the time when this comes out if all their music will be out or just the video, but this was kind of one piece in the larger product that they're going to be kind of putting out this year. So you say that this is a friend client more than a pure client. But on the other hand, like, they approached you as a professional and said, we've never had a legit music video made. Like, we've had some music videos made before, but we've never approached someone who we want to place full creative control in their hands. And you were really treated as a DP on this project. Yeah, and so that was kind of my relationship with Logan. We just kind of got talking about, what are they looking for in a video with this next stage of kind of where they're at as a band. And I think that looked, a lot like handing the full creative process to someone to kind of dream into what the video could be, not necessarily just pulling off a video, but kind of shooting for the moon of, if we could create anything for this song, what would it look like? And I mean, like I said, you guys have seen the results, so you know how good it ended up. They did shoot for the moon, and you guys nailed it. Let's see. After that, though, I just have to know, and I want anyone watching this, you on the other side, the big takeaway from the project, or the thing that you would take into your next similar project that you just feel like was the most valuable learning for you? I feel like the biggest takeaway would have been, I think this was a first project where I was being trusted with a lot, and I think I really took all that I had to the table for them and tried to do my very best with what I was given. And so I think there's like plenty other projects you get as videographers that you give your best, but you only give, a certain amount because of the budget or your skill in pulling it off. And I felt like they were trusting me with a lot, and so I wanted to do my best and kind of go above and beyond. So that might be the takeaway for me of just looking back at a video that we did go kind of above and beyond even what was like originally discussed to make something we were all really proud of. I feel like was the win, and not just treating it like another project to pay the bills or a burden that I have to like shoot this video work. Like kind of just I think the whole process, the band and me working together to create something that was really fun and we were proud of.
Yeah. And then that's a good, I think, transition to what was it like to come up with a concept?
Mm-hmm.
You were entrusted
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the entirety of the project. Like they came to you and they said, "This is our song."
Mm-hmm.
So the song naturally came with a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and the band has an aesthetic.
Yeah.
But after that,
Mm-hmm.
it was up to you to completely conceptualize the whole thing. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you go about coming up with concept,
Yeah.
references, getting that approved by the band, those sorts of
Cool.
things?
Yeah. I feel like, it's new for me. I think doing this level of like pre-production on a project is very like new. And so I think what that looked like for me was just, I'm a musician and I naturally just enjoy watching music videos. So I've over the years just had a lot of music videos that I've liked, ones that I've saved or I have in the archives somewhere of images or vibes that we think was fun. So I just kind of approached Logan with kind of two different concepts in their budget, and I said, hey, we could do a more high production music video where you have like a story and actors and there's like a narrative. And I said we could go that route, and I kind of pitched him on, I think, doing that in this way would be really fun. And I said, on the other hand, I think in your budget we could go for more of a performance style where the concept is really simple. Like in the video, there's not a ton of narrative-driven moments. And so, hey, we could lean into something simple, but go all out on like the venue, the costume design, the little details that I feel like I really love about the video. Yeah. And so I think, after landing that with Logan, it was clear like, hey, let's do this simple concept, but let's kind of put everything we have into it, the attention to detail, the planning. And I think that's kind of like where I started. And so from there, it was just pulling together other videos that I love, certain choruses or just still frames that I was kind of drawing on as we started into the story. So and I feel like the main process for me, I'm really like visual, and so it was just me turning on the song in my car and driving around, and putting like notes down in my phone as they came to me for different moments. Yeah. So I had, a ridiculously long list of like good ideas, terrible ideas, ideas of like, how do we make someone float? And like, can we put someone on a human-sized Lazy Susan? And like dumb ideas that maybe didn't make the final concept, but it was just letting my mind kind of like, wander. And it slowly, we narrowed it down and figured out what would be where. But
well, and even some of those, I don't think they're bad ideas, but the human-sized Lazy Susan was one of the first ideas you approached me with and asked like, A, what do you think of this? Yeah. B, how do you practically, how would you think of pulling this off? That idea didn't end up happening. Like a spinning table sort of idea, if you don't know what a Lazy Susan is. Just a spinning table, but like enormous. Like
enough for like one of the band members to stand on and play.
And we could spin a table, that was an idea, though, that I think did end up influencing the tripod panning in the center, right?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
So I don't think we'll go there quite yet, but like, but on the idea side, by just letting all these ideas loose,
Right.
it ended up shaping itself, maybe not in that final form, but like into something.
Yeah,
So-
made it in the final video and
Yeah.
and the essence of it,
Yeah.
not the practical
Yeah.
like application.
Yeah. Okay, you said something that I am curious about. I didn't write down in my notes just because you said it just now. Like, you are steeped in the music world. Like, you have a music background. Like, you've been in a lot of bands, a lot of the music scene. For someone who is not coming from the world of music,
Okay.
is it still accessible to them to like find references, develop a story, or find, think of how to make a performance oriented like music film, like music video? Yeah, for someone who's not in the music world.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, like what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're not coming from that background and you wanted to do a project like this and you're wanting to get your feet wet, I think that is something that you don't need to wait for like a paying client to approach you with. I think we all have musicians and people in our city who would love to put out content right now and create something. And so, like, even for me, like this video is coming on the heels of 2 years prior, me doing a project for a friend, Ryan, that was kind of a conceptual music video, and that was basically free. That was us having fun and figuring it out. And so I would say, yeah, if you don't have a large music background, I think draw on what inspires you. I think I drew on, there was references for this video from, like, I think Home Alone, like the Christmas movie. Like, it's not, I think you can create for the world of music, drawing inspiration from movies, TV shows, like other things that you like. I think if you're just so entrenched in the music video world and you're trying to just make another music video, you might be boxing yourself in or limiting it a little bit. So.
So to anyone, if you're watching this and you're not a music person, you don't have a music background, like just bring what you do have into whatever music video you want to make or are making, and by result you might end up making a unique music video or something that is more unique than if you were completely steeped in every music video that's come out. So we did like biggest takeaway, a little bit of your background, how this band came to find you and that connection, a little bit behind the conceptualizing and the creative vision. How much, you said, like, finding the venue as well as the outfits. The music has its own vibe. The band has an aesthetic. Then what were some of those big directional items that influenced the rest of it? Like, you've seen the music video now at this point, so you saw that space we were in, and you saw their outfits. But which, after knowing the band's aesthetic, after knowing the vibe of the song and what they wanted the feeling to be, what was kind of the next piece of the puzzle that brought your vision down a little bit, that took you from this big, huge idea a little bit closer to your final vision? Was it the venue? Was it the outfits? Was it, what was next?
I feel like for sure would have been like the venue. And so the outfits were kind of from a separate project. I did some like photos for them for their press release, and we thought the suits were really funny. That I didn't want to make them buy outfits for the photos and the suit or for the music video, so we just said, hey, let's keep it the same. So I think I already,
that right there is indie. This
is the indie
that
world.
That is indie video. That's indie.
There's not
music.
Unlimited money. We are figuring it out. Like my buddies are paying for this. Like they don't have like major backing and like just money, flowing in. And
this band, Familiar, the band, making it on Music Bed this is kind of their big break. This is a big moment for this is a big moment for these guys. So they're paying for these paint suits off of Amazon. That's what they wore, by the way. It's paint suits off of Amazon. But you didn't want to ask them to buy two outfits. So the venue.
So we land on the venue. I think that's what got me like way more creatively inspired. So I was just kind of like browsing one day and came across this space, and like from the initial thumbnail that I saw, I didn't think much of it, and I clicked on it and I like clicked through the photos and I was like, wow, this doesn't feel like Kansas City to me.
Yeah.
This feels like we are in a different city in a really expensive like place. And I think, yeah, after seeing that, really got, seriously thinking of like, wow, what would it be like to spend, money on this space to then shoot the whole video there in one day. I think we were originally thinking like multiple days, multiple locations, and I think just being inspired by the natural light and the plants and the pool and just the space actually being a circle, which the song is called Around. It just like thematically was like, we have to shoot there.
Yeah.
And so like, ended up getting in touch with them, and they were super like generous with, our ability to rent the space from them, to do a music video in it and like make a lot of noise and kind of rearrange it. It kind of just came together where we probably would have had to pay, a lot more money in a bigger city or a bigger market to get such a unique spot.
Right. And you said you were browsing before having chosen a venue. You were browsing where?
PEERSPACE.
Okay.
So PEERSPACE is kind of like the Airbnb for productions, photo shoots, video shoots, just event kind of world. And so it's not, to my knowledge, it's not super big in Kansas City yet, but it is pretty big in the high production cities like LA, Atlanta, New York, and
Chicago.
A lot of the bigger markets. So there was only a handful of places actually listed on PEERSPACE in Kansas City where they, just outline what they have. They show pictures of the space and then give you a cost of what it would cost to rent that.
Yeah.
So super similar to Airbnb. So just got in contact and
dude,
from
it's
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
By now, again, you'll have seen the space, but go check it out on PEERSPACE in Kansas City. We actually ended up following up with them and collaborated to do real estate like photos for them, as well as a video, but I don't know if that's live.
So the Campbell Dome House is the name of the venue.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like this is something that I just want to interject here, is that it's really funny in the creative world. We talked about kind of the idea process earlier. In the idea process, it's super fun to just have no rules, no boundaries. Like any idea goes, you just say it out loud and like toss it all out there, see what sticks, see what starts to take shape. But I think the idea of limits is really like negative in the creative world, like having limits on yourself or putting boundaries up. But as soon as you put boundaries up, that's when the ideas really start to like actually take shape. Because now that you put a container in place, and in this case it was a literal container, it was an actual physical home.
And one day.
In one
With
day,
our budget, it was like we can't do multiple days.
Yes.
We've got to do.
You put together, so one day was a time constraint, and then a space constraint. You had a physical location now, and then the light even was connected to the time constraint. And so like you put all these walls up around yourself, but you're saying, and I think this is worth pointing out, that's actually when you felt most creative all of a sudden. Yeah,
probably most inspired to like take what we were given and make like the best music video we could, that we thought was fun and funny and fitting for their like time as a band. And definitely like I think working with the constraints is something you have to do, and it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's when the problem solving starts. That's when the ideas start to be able to mold themselves into reality. Because otherwise, you've got this Lazy Susan spinning table idea, but then as soon as you have the space, then you look and you say, oh, that's not going to work. Or it's impractical for the time we're given. So what we're going to do instead is this really cool like center tripod shot spinning around the room, and that ends up the idea which started as this blob ends up like perfectly working,
and found its way through the whole video. It
was the backbone,
the concept of spinning or turning or us returning to the same place we started in. All those themes I feel like ended up organically just coming forth in the video.
Which is something worth pointing out, that is the whole thing was Around. If you didn't catch that, go watch it again. pretty much the whole thing was around the spinning the wheels of a bicycle, but not just spinning the wheels of a bicycle. It was a stationary bike.
Not going anywhere.
So it's not going anywhere. The space was a dome. It was an actual round circle thing. We had the characters walk through the space in a circle while singing. We have him like the tripod shot spinning around the center of the room, like, and then even the whip pans, like circular, like it all feels around.
Yeah.
So even though you weren't doing a narrative, you were able to create something more thematic, something with a theme, as opposed to just straight cut performance, handheld sort of thing.
And that honestly just kind of like happened. Like it feels like it was, oh man, like wow, like you say it like that and it's like, wow, we really thought it out. I think it maybe just the ideas of the spinning early on just ended up working themselves in way more areas than I thought, to the point like when I had a conversation with Logan, who's like the drummer in the band, about kind of the theme. We hadn't even talked about what the song's about thematically, where was this written from, and it ended up being a perfect fit with the theme of the song. And I won't get into that here, but just the process of you're kind of going in circles and you're still in the same place. So that just kind of happened, and I'm not saying it's always going to happen, but I think for this video really like worked out, and feels like it took a performance only music video that's just a visual cool thing to watch, into like, oh, there's actually some like intentionality and thought behind some of this. So I think and you had steeped yourself in that song. You had, like you said, you just listened to it on repeat all the time, driven around a bunch and listened to it. So I'm sure there are ways that you didn't even know it was probably working itself out into the ideas, you know, without even having thought that far. It just you just listened to it so much. But good point.
This is where we kind of start to blend between like the conceptual pre-production and then the practical production. But real quick, the practical setup for this thing. Like, so you've got the concept, you've got the idea, you've got a space now, you have a time constraint now, you know, the entire scope of the project and the concept has like narrowed in. You now have a date scheduled, and you have to shoot this thing. So what are you using? Like what is happening between the time where you like set that date and you showed up on site? You know, like what is these practical parts of pre-production?
I think that's where, like with the constraints John talked about of only having, you know, 8 hours, one space, one day to pull this off, that's where I just took it upon myself to go like heavy into pre-production. So I took every idea that I had on my like note sheet, and I kind of took the good ones and I left the maybe ones that I didn't love as much, and I just started going section by section of the song and writing out like what every moment would kind of be. So I'd start with the introduction and I would just make notes of like, okay, like when the song kicks on, this is what we're seeing.
You ought to see this Google Doc.
That
Google Doc.
It's too much.
But I mean, that ended up saving
super
us.
helpful. I mean, I would say 99% of what was on that doc made the final cut, which might not always happen, but we knew we wanted to execute on the ideas coming in, and so a lot of it was pre-thought out, and some of it in the moment was harder to actually capture than we thought, and it was like, okay, we gotta figure out how we're gonna shoot this, and it might not have been the exact thing I was picturing, but the essence and where in the house we shot it and what the feeling was the same.
Did you begin making that shot list before or after the tour?
I did that after the tour.
Okay, so that's important to know. We went and toured the space
before booking it.
Super important, if you can, to tour a space either before or even after booking it, but before the shoot. because having toured the space, you were able to know where the light would be at what time, because we were using almost all natural light.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
I used like a sun tracker app to take a video of the sky, of like showing me, you know, where the sun is going to be at different times of the day. Because if we mess that up, you know, and we're trying to shoot in the courtyard with a lot of light, we can't make the sun go back.
You can't make it not be there. So yeah, you went and toured the space, so you knew what you had to work with when you were listening to the song and scripting shot listing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's important to know. The tour was vital. Yeah. Knowing the space was vital. Yeah. And then showing, so then you're, jump back into the pre-production here. Once you have the time, the date, the venue set, you've gone and toured it, you're listening to that song and shot listing everything.
Every shot.
Every single shot.
Every shot.
Yeah.
As I was imagining it, you know, beforehand. And that, I mean, we can maybe flash up a little bit of what the doc looked like. I think I found a template online, but it's just saying like, where in the house are we shooting this? Yeah. What are we shooting it on? We shot on like 2 different lenses, so just making a clear mental note of where we need this lens. This is who in the band is in this shot. Just trying to be as specific as possible when we're moving so quick as to what are we capturing, just to be efficient and not waste time. You know, I think was the heart. Was the heart there. Yep.
Yeah, dude. So you've got the shot list, the script. In terms of like casting and whatnot, this was a performance. So you're using the band, and then I don't know. It would have been picked up in the cold intro. If I used a cold intro on this video, you would have picked up that I was the PA. I was the second cam or PA, whatever I needed to be that day. But I got to help out on this project. So you came to me. Fuji's 30-minute record time. Awesome. There are some features that would be nice. I'm hoping for the XH2. But I was saying that I got to help out on this project. And your last piece of pre-production after assembling cast and crew, the space, the shot list, you looked at your shot list and you were like, my gear can do a lot of this, but not all of it. So that next step of pre-production.
Yeah, so looking at the shot list, I think some of my favorite shots that I was envisioning in my head did require some extra gear, and like the main piece of gear that was an actual like dolly track, and you can fake it in post, you can scale in post, you can use a gimbal. I have a glide cam. Like, we could have made it work, but I feel like in my head I was like, man, having that feels like that would really take this concept and execute it really cleanly. And so that was a moment for me of like, wow, it's 3 or 4 days before the shoot. I'm not locked into this, but I want to pull it off. And so I looked into, we have like a local rental house here in Kansas City where you can rent film gear.
One.
And
Kansas City, not a big market. In major market cities, you would maybe have more rental players that you'd be able to pick something up on short notice.
Yes.
Not a likelihood here. So you should know that the chips are stacked against Blase 3 days out from the shoot.
Yeah. And so that's where, you know, I was kind of looking at prices and it seemed doable, and I wanted to invest, you know, some of my own profit in this video to make it good. And I just had the idea of texting a few filmmaking friends, and so just sent a few texts out, and I think by the end of the day, my buddy Chris had gotten back, and he basically had every piece of gear that I was looking for. So I had sent, you know, maybe a nicer tripod for the spinning chorus shots. Like, I need a heavy tripod would be nice with a fluid head, and, you know, like a dolly, if that existed, maybe additional lighting, just kind of put feelers out. And he actually ended up just, you know, blessing me in that. Like, I did not have to rent that at rental house rates, and was just gifted, you know, a lot of nice gear to really make this thing special.
Yeah, which it's worth saying on this. You're not always going to find that person. Yeah. But and something that Chris really respected, though, was how seriously you were taking this project. This guy who rented this gear was shooting a doc
in LA at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like legit full-time freelance filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he saw how serious Blase was taking this project and really respected that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big part of his decision in renting to
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah, maybe just imagining himself in that place. Probably has done it before, of just wanting to take a video to the next level and
Yeah.
realizing that relationships and friends can help out with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Chris. That was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's worth noting for anybody out there, if you're looking at rental houses and you know anybody who has access to any gear,
Mm-hmm.
tell them how much a project means to you and how seriously you're taking it. Invite them in.
Yeah.
Make them feel like they're
Mhm.
a part of it.
Mhm.
Make them a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they might just really respect
Yeah.
your approach to the
Mhm.
project and find a way to hook you up with some gear
Yeah.
and bless you.
Yeah, and I think be honoring about it. Like,
Mm.
I kind of approached Chris and said, hey, here's like a short list of stuff that would be, in a dream scenario, I would love to rent all this. I have this many dollars left in my budget of what I'm willing to invest in this. And so even if that meant just getting the dolly, I probably would have rented that from him at the full rate, if that meant just the tripod or two of them. And so it was me honoring him, his generosity there. He ended up, giving me all of it for the price that I had. And so, but just, the point is not to just mooch off your friends for the sake of your own production, but be upfront about it, be honoring. And you might get, blessed with more gear than you know what to do with.
And you never assumed anything. You never assumed it was your right to have this gear. I
was willing to make kind of the concept work either way.
Yeah.
It was on me that I had dreamed of a concept that I didn't have gear for, and that's not on my friends to bail me out. And
so that's really, I think that's important. It's a humble approach, a thankful approach. So that's I think that's like that's the farthest bleeding line we can get before we start talking about like actual production, which is camera, package, equipment, execution, and then post color grading. So we weren't sure going into this if we would split it up into 2 episodes. We are going to split it into 2 episodes for sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of ground to cover here, and I think it's really helpful. For me, honestly, just watching Blase throughout this process, I learned so much that I really wanted to make a video for anyone else who would find it helpful. And I think that's going to be a lot of you out there, because Blase is doing it in a normal way. You're not renting, a red, you're not someone who already has a really expensive camera package or alternative equipment. You don't even have a ton of connections in the film industry. We are in a tiny little Kansas City market. We have 1 rental house here. We have 5 venues on PEERSPACE. So
and the band is not signed to a label. There's not external backing that is
throwing money at you.
Throwing money at this project. This was really friends wanting to honor each other. They wanted to pay me. But I really wanted to make them something really good too. So
So I put this out here because I think it's really inspiring. It was inspiring for me. So I hope that this was helpful for you. The next part will be production, gear, post-production, and I just am really excited to walk through all of that stuff. I'm not sure how much of the actual BTS I've included throughout this video, but I shot BTS on the day of, and so you'll actually get to see a little bit of how we actually made it, some of the gear used in certain shots, how the execution happened with some of the areas where we maybe didn't have gear that was going to be perfect for it. So that'll all happen in the next one. I'm thankful for you watching this. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. I'm thankful for Blase being a part of this, being willing to do this BTS thing. Definitely check out Blase's YouTube channel. He's just got a little promo up there right now, but definitely still go look at it and hire him for all of your music video needs and for everything else. He's an incredible colorist, DP, editor, right now, jack of all trades, really. And
thanks, man.
So anyway, peace out. See you in the next video. Be ready for a lot more learning in the next one. See ya.
Over the.
This is. Yep. Yep. Cheers.
There we go.
We got all this stuff, and we're ready to roll.
Mhm.
Let's do it.